I have another exciting book haul for you today. Starting out with two memoirs first. We have You're That Bee. I'm not sure if I'm allowed to say that word on YouTube or not, so we'll just call it Bee, by Bretman Rock. This is a gay Cinderella story. Hilarious and earnest, this collection of essays, how-tos, and never-before-seen photos goes far beyond what we know of Bretman Rock from social media. Who is Bretman Rock behind the screen, and how did he become the original superstar, influencer, and today's best beloved friend of the internet? You're That Bee welcomes you into Bretman Rock's world, how his childhood in the Philippines, his family, Filipino culture, and being a first-generation immigrant helped shape him into who he is today. Peek into how Bretman became a social media sensation at the precocious age of 14, balancing living a glamorous, jet-setting lifestyle on weekends while still serving lunch at his school's cafeteria, running as a varsity track star, and making honor roll during the week. Chelsea Handler on the back endorses it, saying this book is hilarious and it made me laugh out loud. So this is the book I'm starting with first. It looks really good. Then I had never heard of her, Shirley Jones, apparently, and I am way too young to have watched this, mind you, but apparently she was an actress on The Partridge Family. Again, I know nothing about that because that was before my time. But from just reading about her life, it looks like maybe she led a rather interesting life. It says that it's hilarious and heartwarming, shocking and intimate. So, hey, it's worth a try. We'll see. Then, for the exciting, juicy stuff. I've been on the wait list for Stay Away From Him by Andrew D. Young for a while. I saw one other person talk about this, and the title is just so intriguing. It says, on the evening she exonerated unaliver Thomas Danver, Melissa Burke let him help put her 5-year-old son to bed before coming back upstairs to enjoy the dinner party. Thomas was so nice, and a pediatrician. She didn't know anything then about his wife's suspicious death. Relocating with her 5-year-old son to a new city after an ugly divorce, Melissa Burke isn't looking for a new relationship right away, only distance from her ex and space to rest and heal from the emotional scars of a broken marriage. But an unexpected relationship is exactly what she finds at a friend's dinner party when she meets Thomas Danver, a charming widower who asks for her number at the end of the night. Intrigued, Melissa learns from her neighbors that Thomas is a dedicated father of 2 girls, one of the most respected pediatricians in the city, and an exonerated unaliver. Thomas' first wife went missing 3 years ago, presumed dead, and Thomas was eventually cleared of her unaliving in an investigation that became a local media sensation. But while some still believe he did it, Melissa's friends insist that he was unfairly targeted by the police and couldn't hurt a fly. Attracted to Thomas and also fascinated by the case, Melissa agrees to one date and finds herself quickly swept into an obsessive whirlwind romance. But when Melissa receives a chilling anonymous threat, or perhaps it's a warning, she begins to question how much she truly knows about the man she's falling in love with. Is he really innocent? That just sounds so good. I am going to be very disappointed if that isn't as good as it sounds. I have my hopes big on that one. Okay. Then this one is by Allie Carter. I read, I believe it was last year, and loved the book. Let's see here. It's listed in the Most Wonderful Crime of the Year. It was a funny, cozy mystery. So this is her second book, The Blonde Identity, The Blonde Who Came In From the Cold. An action-packed second-chance rom-com about 2 rival spies who must join forces in order to stay alive, from New York Times bestselling author Allie Carter. 10 years ago, they joined the CIA. 6 years ago, he left the game. 5 years ago, they fell in love. 1 year ago, she ran out into the cold with absolutely no intention of ever coming back. And 2 minutes ago, They woke up bloody and bruised and handcuffed together in the dark. They don't know where they are. They don't know how they got there. And they have absolutely no idea who is after them or what this nameless, faceless villain wants. The only thing that's clear is that after 10 years of covers and chemistry, secrets and lies, these two rival spies have been sucked into their greatest mission yet. And now they're going to have to team up to stay alive if they don't unalive each other first. So that sounds like it could be fun. Then this is horror. I don't usually read horror. However, I did read Grady Hendrix's book, How to Sell a Haunted House. And while there were some things I hated about it, like the puppet pumpkin, I hated that creepy puppet. But I have to admit, I read the whole thing all the way through. I didn't DNF it. So I'm going to give this a try. I do read some horror. Not often, but I do read some. And what better time to try it than October? I mean, a fast-paced, thrilling horror novel that follows a group of heroines to die for. In horror movies, the final girl is the one who's left standing when the credits roll. The one who fought back, defeated the unaliver, and avenged her friends. The one who emerges bloodied but victorious. But after the sirens fade and the audience moves on, what happens to her? Lynette is a real-life final girl who survived an unaliving 22 years ago, and it has defined every day of her life since. And she's not alone. For more than a decade, she's been meeting with 5 other actual final girls and their therapist in a support group for those who survived the unthinkable, putting their lives back together piece by piece. That is, until one of the women misses a meeting and Lynette's worst fears are realized. Someone knows about the group and is determined to take their lives apart again, piece by piece. But the thing about these final girls is that they have each other now, and no matter how bad the odds, how dark the night, how sharp the knife, they will never, ever give up. So we'll see. It sounds good. Also, this one, How to Unalive Your Family by Bella Mackey. When I picked it up at the library, I said, you know what? Now that I'm seeing the cover, I feel like I maybe have read that book already, but I'm not sure. I have to look in my Goodreads and see if I've read it or not. I don't know. It looks familiar to me. But sometimes when it looks familiar, what that means is I started it and then I DNF'd it and forgot to put it in my DNF list on Goodreads. So that might be what happened. I don't know. We'll see. It says it's a hilarious and dark debut novel about a female anti-hero out for revenge. So, I mean, you can see the appeal there. Grace Bernard is an ambitious young woman in London. Grace is from an underprivileged background with an absent biological father and a working-class immigrant mother who died from cancer when Grace was still little. So when Grace discovers the identity of her father and learns of his and his family's cruel treatment of her dying mother, she vows revenge. Grace coldly sets out to unalive them all one by one. The challenge is knocking off her loathsome family without arousing too much suspicion. So Grace exploits their vanity and shamelessness. A car accident here, a drowning there, bring Grace closer to the ultimate payback, as well as the fabulous inheritance she knows she deserves. So it sounds very good. Then I loved that book that I talked about in my last weekly reading wrap-up, my last video that I did, most recent one. So I got 2 more books by Jane Corey because I'm thinking, you know, she might be my new favorite author. So we have Jane Corey, The Dead Ex. One man's disappearance throws 4 women's lives into chaos. Who will survive? Vicky works as an aromatherapist, healing her clients out of her home studio with her special blends of essential oils. She's just finishing a session when the police arrive on her doorstep. Her ex-husband David has gone missing. Vicky insists she last saw him years ago when they divorced, but the police clearly don't believe her, and her memory's hardly reliable. What if she did have something to do with it? So we have an unreliable narrator. That's always fun. Meanwhile, Scarlett and her mother Zelda are down on their luck. At 8 years old, Scarlett's too young to know that the game her mother forces her to play is really just a twisted name for dealing drugs. I don't know if I'm allowed to say that on YouTube. Let's hope I don't get a strike for that. Soon, Zelda is caught and Scarlett is forced into years of foster care, an experience that will shape the rest of her life. David's new wife, Tanya, is the one who reported him missing. But what really happened on the night of David's disappearance? And how can Vicky prove her innocence when she's not even sure of it herself? The answer lies in the connection among these four women and the one person they can't escape. Hopefully that's as good as it sounds. And then, I mean, who can resist a title like that? My Husband's Wife. I mean, come on. That's just insane. When young lawyer Lily marries Ed, she's determined to make a fresh start, to leave the secrets of the past behind. She hopes that she and Ed, an aspiring painter, will be deliriously happy in their postage stamp-sized apartment. And when Lily meets her young neighbor Carla, she finds herself utterly charmed by the clever, winning girl. But Lily is not the only one with secrets. Carla may be only 9, but she has already learned that secrets are powerful things, that they can get her whatever she wants, and she has an uncanny ability to twist the truth so she almost always gets her way. Then Lily takes on her first unaliving case and meets Joe, a convicted unaliver to whom she is strangely drawn and for whom she will soon be willing to risk almost anything. Her work on Joe's case becomes all-consuming until she learns that her marriage to Ed is based on a bed of lies. Lies she could never have imagined her own husband was capable of telling. When Lily finds Carla on her doorstep 12 years later, a chain of events is set in motion that can only end one way. A modern spin on a classic bad seed story, My Husband's Wife is a twisty, addictive thriller whose shocking finale you will never forget. So, lots of potential there. I hope they're as good as they sound. Sorry, Dolly did not show her face today. She is out in the living room watching birds at the bird feeder. So hopefully she'll be in the next video. You never know where that little rascal's going to be. But alrighty, let me know in the comments if you've read any of these and if you thought any of them were good. And I will see you all next time. Bye.